All right, that deadly robbery by daredevil criminals has once again brought to the fore the level of insecurity in the country. And so we have joining us via Skype from Makurdi, the Benue State capital, public affairs analyst Terence Kwanum. Good morning and thanks for joining us on the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Now it looks like the dimension of crime and criminality and threats to Nigeria's security seem to be they're just becoming more brutal. With the killing of about 17 or so people at the Ofa bank robbery. 5 banks were robbed within a space of 3 hours. And unfortunately, nothing was done to apprehend them. What are your concerns about growing insecurity in the country, whether it's armed banditry, herdsmen attacks, Boko Haram, of course, is there still threatening Nigeria's existence, and of course,
armed robbery.
Armed robbery.
Yeah, it's a natural thing when arms are in the hands of youths in a country and nothing is done about it. Every sort of crime takes its high. And you know that Ofa is still within the belt that there's a lot of crisis in the last 3-4 months. There are a lot of arms that are freely in the hands of people within the Middle Belt region. Either they take into herdsmen killing, they take into armed robbery, and they take into whatever crime. Because these arms are not checked. They are caused by the people of the Middle Belt. That these are the insecurity situations taking place in the Middle Belt. Nobody cares about it. So arms are everywhere. So any type of crime can be able to take place in the Middle Belt of this country because either people are taking arms to defend themselves or people are bringing arms to attack XYZ. So arms are on the free within the Middle Belt region of this country. Any crime can take place here. We are only praying that what happened in Efa should not repeat itself elsewhere because it's so sad that people go on their normal business and they lose their life in that kind of situation.
Yeah. All right, Terence, you talk about arms being everywhere in the Middle Belt. The point there is, from all the reports we got, arms proliferation, Nigeria has a very high rate of arms proliferation in the world, or even in Africa, the sub-Saharan region. But if we had to narrow it down, you talked about the Middle Belt. What is peculiar about the Middle Belt that you have arms there that is different from maybe the southern part or the extreme northern part of the country?
The people bringing in arms are the herdsmen. No security checks the Sahel route. So the cargo on the cows are always arms, drugs, and money laundering. And the epicenter of their interest is in the Middle Belt, where their cows come to eat the green beds of this region. So Middle Belt is center in this arms issue because it's the epicenter of the interest of the people preferring arms in this country. And that is why the Middle Belt is key, and that is why the arms are more in the Middle Belt region.
The IGP, Ibrahim Idris, not too long ago, actually gave the marching orders to commissioners of police in the different states to mop up, this arms in the system. It looks like some success is being recorded, but how effective do you think that marching order is? What would you like to see to make it really successful?
The order the IG gave sounds interesting, but how possible it's going to work is the issue. Because if we look at the number of people that are armed, that he wants to disarm them, I think there are even more than his personnel that he's using. Because every time there's a tip-off that armed men are coming to attack people, you see 1 or 2 trucks of policemen with less than 20 people going to confront heavily armed people in hundreds. So how can 20 people go and disarm over 200 people? So the directive is good, but how he's going to go about it is the most difficult situation. That is why from the belt of Taraba to Benue to Kogi, these borders have been surrounded by armed people waiting to attack the citizens, but no security can do anything about it because their number is insufficient, their arms are insufficient to even confront these herders that have surrounded these communities. So we are still watching to see how he's going to disarm people who are more armed and sophisticated than his personnel.
All right, Nigerians are quite very concerned about the fact that there hasn't been a very tactical strategy or deliberate, let me use the word, deliberate strategy to put some of these security challenges to an end. We have seen the police being reactionary. For instance, the IG has released, like in the report we played earlier, has approved the release of armored personnel carriers to Kwara State, released units of mobile policemen here and there to Taraba State, to Kwara State, and so on. We expect, or Nigerians expect, there to be these things even before the acts are carried out in the first place.
You know, when the military leaves the territorial borders to come and defend internal security, they collaborate with the police to end these killings easily. But in the case of the Middle Belt, I think they don't want to end the situation for whatever reason known to them. Because when Operation Python Dance and Crocodile Spy were launched, tanks were rolled, SPGs were moved to be able to confront the heavily armed people that were causing these mayhems. But if we look at the Middle Belt situation, the cat race is taking place, no tank is rolled, no SPG has been brought, even the AKs that have been released have not been ordered to be used, the patrol vans are not forward. These military people, they are just stationary. So even they are not even collaborating with even the police that are on ground. It makes the Middle Belt situation unique and difficult to end. And now, this thing is extending to other places at the moment. People feel that if you take to crime and then you hide under the cover of even herdsmen in this country, you have immunity to be able to perpetrate whatever acts. It's sad, and we feel the federal government needs to sit up properly. If not, this issue is going to escalate beyond its control very soon.
Of course, we're looking even beyond the Middle Belt. All across the country, there's some security breach or the other. Only in Ife, over the weekend, there was this explosion, and witnesses said it was an IED that went off.
In a pharmacy.
In a pharmacy, and you're wondering, is it, is terrorism spreading? To other parts of the country. And of course, Edgar Limoimi, the CP of Lagos, actually said he has successfully degraded the capacity of Bado, for example, and kidnappers in Lagos. So the point is, the security situation all across the country leaves a lot to be desired. But some experts have said, beyond the issue of the deployment of personnel, security personnel, government seems not to be using enough technology to actually ensure that there's security, because there's a number of personnel that you can have that can tackle it effectively.
No, if you are serious with the security situation, why we are mentioning even Middle Belt and leaving the rest of the country, this was how Boko Haram started in Borno, like a joke, and spread across northeast and the north. Now the epicenter of this new uprising is starting in the Middle Belt. You are talking of an IED exploding in Ibadan, and then we have clusters of it in places in the northwest. We are talking of a group of criminals having immunity in our country called the Fulani herdsmen. And if you treat these people the way they are supposed to be treated, like terrorists, when Ghana realized that the Fulani herdsmen were terrorists, they ordered a shoot at sight at any herder they see at all. I know this thing calmed the situation in that country, that the real herders have been able to separate the criminals from themselves to be able to come back and do their business. But we live in a country where people have been declared terrorists, and rather than confront them as terrorists, we're shielding them and rather giving them more protection than the innocent citizens they are killing every day in this country. By even our revered institutions like the military. So it becomes a thing to worry about, because it is spreading already. If we look at Taraba and Adamawa, the thing is still going back to where they experience a lot of crisis. So it's sad. But the federal government has the capacity. to be able to tame this once and for all. If they confront these people the way they have confronted Python Dance, Crocodile Smile, and Boko Haram. And this thing is this confrontation would have come from the beginning, and it would have been easier for them to end it. But the way they are allowing it to go, the way arms have come in, most of this armed robbery you see that took place in Ofa is the excitement of people keeping arms. Probably these arms have been in Kwara for a while, waiting for them to strike, and they didn't come, and these people ran out of money, and they have to go and look for money with the guns they gave them. And these are possible angles to look at these issues. We wish the federal government tame this issue right now that they're starting before.
Okay, Terence, thank you so much. Terence Kwandum, thank you very much for joining us on the program from Makurdi in Benue State. We've been talking about the security situation in the country.